Hey, Xiomy here. So today I wanted to film Top 5 Wednesdays, and Top 5 Wednesday was created by Lainey over on Ginger Eats Lainey, but now it's being hosted by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. And I'm going to have everything linked down below just in case you're interested in checking it out. And today's topic for discussion is favorite villains. Now I have air quotes because I'm not the kind of person that roots for bad guys, yet alone villainous characters, but I have to admit that I love when a villain is portrayed excellently and when they are written brilliantly, because they give the character or the heroine or the hero time to move and to pick up pace and actually to make them second guess themselves and give a lot of turmoil in their lives and just, you know, bring them to their knees, which is something that I have to admit that I can appreciate because it makes them, you know, grow as a character and obviously, like I just said, second guess themselves a lot, and that's something that I have to admit that I really do appreciate. So I'm gonna base this list on that fact that I don't love villainous characters, but I do appreciate them, and the way that they were thought out and the way that they were written is something that I have to admit that is something that I do very much appreciate. Now with that being said, none of my villainous characters are in any particular order except for the first two, because it's like both of these are contending for the #1 spot of the most evilest of villains I have ever read about. So with that in mind, let's get into this list. Now the first villainous character that I am going to mention is one that I have to admit that I appreciated and I loathed so badly, but he was like, there's a plant here in Puerto Rico called morivivil. It's like no matter how many times you stomp on it, it continues to grow back. Well, that's how he is to me in my eyes, and he is the Commissar from The Beauty of Darkness and also The Heart of Betrayal, which is where he was introduced. The Commissar is such a worthy adversary, especially for, you know, Laya, which is our heroine in this book, and I have to admit that I appreciated, you know, his character development, or let's not say character development, but the way he was written was something that I have to admit that I do appreciate. The things that he did made me loathe him so much. So that's why I have him like on a low list. But there's one thing that he did, especially in the Heart of Betrayal, that I cannot forgive no matter what. It's just like, oh my god. But you know, I have to admit that he was a well thought out villain, and you know, he made these characters sweat, you know, and second guess themselves, and I have to appreciate that. The next antagonist that I'm going to mention is one that I never thought in a gazillion years I would actually feel any empathy for, but I actually did, and the one I'm talking about is Sebastian Morgenstern from The Mortal Instruments. Now, we didn't start off with Sebastian Morgenstern as our villainous character. We did start off with Valentine Morgenstern, but in my eyes, Sebastian Morgenstern created so much havoc and so much chaos in the Shadowhunter world that he is deemed worthy adversary in my eyes for Shadowhunters, especially since he created it on such a personal level. And yes, he is a sociopath. Yes, he is such a sadistic kind of character. Yes, he did have a bad upbringing, horrible father figure, but again, these are things that shouldn't be taken as an excuse for you to actually become such a villainous character. Yes, I understand where the pace picked up in his storyline, and I have to admit, he was a worthy adversary for the Shadowhunters, and I really appreciated him as a character, and that ending was one that I was never expecting to actually feel any empathy for a villainous character, but in this case I did, and in my eyes it did redeem him a bit, but it didn't excuse any of the things that he already had committed. FYI, just in case you hear any kids screaming, the neighbors are there and I really need to film this video, so I apologize as of right now, but let's continue, right? For my third favorite villainous characters, I'm gonna bunch two together because they are from one series and they are from The Legend of Korra, and I have to admit that I appreciate them so much. I mean, they inflicted a lot of pain and a lot of hurt, and a lot of death, but they were worthy adversaries, and they are Zahir from book 3. Amazing villainous character, and he is a master at airbending, but he was such a worthy adversary for Korra. The next one that I'm going to mention is Kuvira. What? Kuvira was such a badass of a character that she brought out the most powerful avatar in Korra. And I have to admit that that is something that is deemed worthy in my eyes, because there's something that transpired in book 2 which I hated so badly. But in the ending, in the finale, that epic battle between these two characters, between Korra and Kuvira, were simply breathtaking. I'm gonna have some honorable mentions because there are some characters from books that I have read that are very villainous, and not by choice. Well, some of them not by choice, but because certain things happen or transpire with them. Others by choice. But those are, I can say, Aiden from Illuminate. I mean, he is one crazy dysfunctional AI. I can also mention King Gaius from the Fallen Kingdom series, such a sadistical, tyrannical character. Oh my goodness, I hate him so much. The King of Adeline, such a hateful individual that the only thing he wants is power from the Throne of Glass series. He's just such a hateful individual, honestly. He still does not have a name, but I can mention those per se because they are very, very villainous characters, and I really did appreciate them somewhat, you know, being written in the story, so I have to mention those. I did just mention my honorable mentions because my first and my second spot cannot be removed from anybody so far, because these two are such worthy villains that I don't see anybody taking my number 1 and number 2 spot. And the first one that I'm going to mention is Queen Levana from the Lunar Chronicles. Such an evil, wicked, cruel individual. I mean, she is known as one of the worst lunars, and in this book you get such an in-depth glimpse into her life that there are parts where you're like, oh man, like, wow, I kind of get where she was coming from. But then again, the ending of this book and everything else that transpired in the other books makes you hate this character so much. But you have to appreciate that she is a character that was well written, she was well thought out, and she was just a brilliant introduction as a villainous character. And I appreciated that much about her because she's not a redeemable character, and that's something that I do enjoy a lot of the times, when no matter how hard you try to pick something nice out of these villainous characters, there is nothing that can redeem them. They're just so wicked and so evil. Now for my number 1 favorite villainous character is the Commander from An Ember in the Ashes series. I have to admit that this woman is very sadistic, she is very cruel, and such an evil of characters. I have never read a character so evil. One thing that I do have to appreciate about her is that there is no redeeming quality for her. She is going to go down as one of the most evilest of characters that I have ever read in my life, and she marvels in that glory of being so evil and so sadistic. And it's something that I have to admit that I appreciate from her, especially in this book. All the things that this woman did, it's like, oh my god, she is a worthy character for all of these heroes that are in this book. Again, I apologize for any of the noises that you have been hearing, but again, you know, kids scream, they're happy, they're alive, they're healthy, so what else can we say? Well, that's it for my video. I want to thank you for watching, and if you want to tell me your favorite villainous characters, then feel free, we'll chit chat down below. But until next time.